I have a very important question that I would like for you to ask yourself. And it's in light of a lot of things that are happening right now, and especially an article, well, two articles, in fact, and I'm going to share them here with you, or the one article, direct link will be in the description about the VFW's response to the Washington Post article. Let me just bring that up real quick here. So it's this article here, the VFW to Washington Post, veterans disability benefits are not loopholes to exploit. So this got me thinking, and I would like for you to consider this question. No political, no, just your own personal situation, right? My channel is called Situation Dictates. Your situation is unique to you. And the question is, what would happen in your life if you were to stop receiving your compensation from the VA? I think this is a very important question to ask. And I'm not saying this is not a doom and gloom. This is just a personal question that I would like for you to consider. You know, when I was in Iraq, we would have briefings before missions. And during those briefings, we would discuss what are the latest tactics that the enemy is using right now, whether it's new material, new detonation devices, whatever it might be. We discussed these things before going outside the wire, before going on a mission. And I'd like to think about this the same way, because we may go out on a mission and we may, the information that we received during these briefings were life-saving. We knew what the latest tactics were and how to and to look out for them and to be aware of them. And then in the unfortunate events where they were using new tactics, we had to adjust fire. We had to make adjustments, obtain that information, and disseminate that information to our units and to the rest of the units throughout the country. And that's how I like to see this, is that I don't want any veterans to suffer. That's why I'm putting a lot of this information out to help veterans that have legitimate claims, to help them, not to exploit, not to make things up, but to help them, because it is ridiculous and how difficult it can be. I have a very close friend who inspired me, two friends who inspired me for this channel, because he doesn't want anything to do with filling out papers, talking to doctors, but yet he is suffering and should be receiving compensation for his service. But that's not the case. So I want to ask you to consider this. And what this is just for you to be prepared, right? When we went out on mission, we had to be prepared for any and all situations that can happen. Of course, you can't prepare for every single thing, but this is just a personal, perhaps, wake-up call to ask yourself, what would happen to you and your family in the event that you stop receiving compensation? Now, as I mentioned, this is not a doom and gloom. This is not something that can perhaps happen today, tomorrow, maybe perhaps even next year. But we don't know. And it's best to be as prepared as possible for every situation possible. Because if something does happen, you're prepared for it. It's not going to impact you perhaps as much as it would if you were not prepared, right? It's better to be prepared for whatever may happen, but of course, in the hopes that you continue to receive the compensation that was given to you, and that you have unfortunately sustained injuries during your military service, and that it is something that the country to continue to provide these services to veterans that were sent to wars and to service that they were called to do, but veterans also knew that they were going to be taken care of by their country, the support of the country for veterans. So I want to once again ask yourself this: how prepared are you? And if you can, if the whatever your question or whatever your answers may be, that's for you and your situation alone. Everybody has their own family, their own situation, but really, I encourage you to take some honest time to ask yourself, not on, I know the government's going to take care of me. I know they can't do this. I know this law exists. I know this is not going to happen. This is just, no, it's just ask yourself this question, and then ask yourself, how can I best prepare myself and my family that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay? Whether that means focusing on your savings, whether that focusing on building additional skills, work skills that know that no matter what happens, you can have a job, or no matter what, that you're going to be okay. And that's what the reason why I am asking you to ask yourself these honest questions, so that you are best prepared, because we just don't know what's going to happen in the future. And as I mentioned, this is not a doom and gloom. This is not to say this is not going to change a year from now, or, of course, not tomorrow, or maybe next month or next year. You just don't know. So I'd like for you to ask yourself those questions, because I think it's very important that us veterans, we support each other. And I think this is truly an honest question to ask yourself: how prepared are you in the event that this just perhaps goes away or is minimized, right? There's a lot of benefits that veterans receive depending on their percentage. What would happen in that event as well? So just something to think about, something to consider, something as that is very important, because I know there are some veterans who are so dependent on this compensation that it would ruin their family, ruin they would be homeless, right? And I want veterans to be best prepared no matter what situation they may be in. So let's help each other and support each other. This is not about what side up and down and all around, or what laws are in place. This is just an honest question to ask yourself, and to ask yourself, how can you best be prepared in any event that it is taken away, it is diminished, and how can you best prepare for you and your family, no matter what happens today, next month, next year. But you are, as a veteran, taking ownership and taking active interest in your life, in your situation. All right. I think I've said enough. Thank you for watching and your support. Once again, as I mentioned in all or most of my videos, every claim is an evidence-based claim. Everything needs to be documented and true of whatever diagnosis, whatever claim you're putting in. If you're unsure of what an evidence-based claim is, check out my video above. And thank you for watching.